Vance Jennings.
From the parking lot, and Vermont has a 59-55 lead.
They throw it in the front court. It's caught.
Upset City in Worcester. The Catamounts knock off the Orange, 60-57.
Patrick Gymnasium, home to the Vermont Catamounts. There have been many memories made on this basketball court, but it was on a basketball court in Worcester, Massachusetts 10 years ago where this program made its most memorable moment. That's when a solid group of seniors and their quirky coach entered the NCAA Tournament, taking on a perennial powerhouse, Syracuse, in the first round. The result was one of the greatest stories in the history of the NCAA basketball tournament, and it transformed a small university in the Green Mountains into a college hoop haven.
Before, everybody's dream, everybody's hope was to get as far into the America East tournament as possible. We fell short my first year.
But a David Hayne jumper at Boston University in 2003 changed the program forever. The Cats went on to capture 2 straight America East titles, punching tickets to the NCAA tournament. The program's first appearance in 2003 saw the Cats as a 16th seed and without an injured TJ Sorrentine lose by 29 points to number 1 seed Arizona. The following year it was a trip to Buffalo as a 15th seed, falling to number 2 UConn in a game that was much more competitive than the 70-53 score would indicate. With their 2 leaders, Coppenrath and Sorrentine, returning for their senior seasons, there was a different feeling around Catamount country than in years past.
There was that expectation, once we got there once, to keep going, especially with a young team that we had.
There was a lot of expectations throughout the town and the school and the state, and those kids really handled that well.
I tell people we had a reality television show on us. You know, that doesn't happen too often, so you could say the expectations were a little higher for sure.
There was one more member of the Vermont roster that would call this season his last.
I just want to first of all certainly thank everybody for coming here today.
The announcement coming in early November 2004.
Obviously, it's a very, very happy time for me, very happy. Except for the fact that I got to leave 6 or 7 kids behind. I knew it really didn't matter what happened, because whatever happened, I mean, it mattered, of course, but whatever happened, I wasn't going to be able to make it up next year. We have the greatest senior class that we've ever could have here. This is about them. I want this to be about them this year. I knew we were playing with house money, and I knew that we were really good. I didn't know how good, obviously, but I just thought we were ready to win a tournament game.
It really was do or die time for them in terms of their careers. So this group of guys was going to do it. This was the time.
So it was kind of like, let's go out together. Let's go, let's just realize our dream, our goal to get back into the NCAA tournament and actually win one game.
On the back of Coppenrath's 37 points, Vermont beat Northeastern 80-57 at Patrick Gym to capture their 3rd straight America East championship.
To get that done on our home floor and win the 3rd one, I think we were really loose, and I don't think that can be understated. Having gone through, what the team had went through the previous 2-3 years to get to a point now where, coach was retiring, everybody was going into their last couple games. Really just wanted to go out there and play loose and play our best and kind of take a swing and see what happened.
It's a great feeling, It's a great feeling. 3 times, 3 feet, Just great.
That was expectation, it's like, we'll win this. I remember going into the tournament just feeling like, there's just no way, we can lose this tournament. I mean, it sounds cocky, but that was just the feeling, that we had at seniors.
All that was left was to wait for Selection Sunday.
They'll take on the Catamounts of
Vermont would move up 2 seeds from the year before, a 13 seed, taking on number 4 Syracuse in the Austin region of the bracket. The game taking place in Worcester, Mass.
We felt like we were going to get a probably higher seed than we got. In the matchup, I think a lot of people were disappointed with getting Syracuse because they had just won the Big East tournament.
With all the respect I can muster, it wasn't a great Syracuse team. It really wasn't. But they had done very well. They won the Big East, and a lot of people were touting them to go to the Final Four.
There was a bit of air taken out of that room when they announced Syracuse. They quickly recovered, and if anything, it just made them want to go in there and show what they could do.
That level is just, let's focus, let's play our best, and hope that we catch the other team on a bad day.
I think we all kind of had confidence that a quiet confidence that we were going to, compete. Now, I don't know if you all thought that what happened was going to happen at the time, but we were excited and we were coming off a great season, a great championship performance here.
At our weekly meeting, we would do a little quiz about mid-major basketball. And one of the teams that we prominently featured throughout the course of that winter was Vermont. The seed lines came out, and we were like, oh my gosh.
We obviously respected them as a team, but we thought we could. It wasn't going to affect us. We thought we could beat anybody in the country.
I think it might have been a different team. We might have been a little bit more, I don't know, I want to say intimidated, but we would have felt like it would have been a bigger struggle to pull a win out.
I think people were more excited, from the players to the coaches to all the fans around the program, that we were playing in Worcester. That was a big deal. We felt like we were going to have a lot of people who were going to be able to get to the game and a lot of people on our side.
It turns out fan support even exceeded the Cats' expectations.
The thing that startled me the most, without a doubt, was how many people came from Vermont. You know, it was really funny because I got here in '86 and things were so different.
Practice before, open to the public, rather than being tight, we were loose. That team was a very unique team. We were loose all the time.
You get to the DCU Center and you watch walk through, and it's this small, intimate arena. That doesn't play into Syracuse's hands. It didn't feel grandiose. It felt almost like something that would be played in mid-major basketball.
You want to absorb all the excitement, but you also want to stay focused, not to lose your concentration and get too caught up in all of the hype.
I'm a fan. I'm a Catamount fan. And I love Taylor.
It was fun. I mean, it was unbelievable. I was very confident that, with the talent that we had, that we could definitely win one, possibly two. I mean, it is the NCAA tournament, so there are a lot of upsets.
We got to the gym the minute they opened the doors, and it was certainly a very, very exciting moment. And I think all of us felt that this is a game we can win.
I remember walking out before the game and people just rising over, and they all had the same shirts on. They all had gold shirts on, all the Vermont people, and they sat directly across from me. And it really was, moving. It really sent shivers down my spine.
A picturesque scene during pregame
And the jack controlled by Vermont.
turned into an ugly first half of basketball.
And they turn it over. Syracuse turns it over. Lamesh, high archer. Short. That was a bad pass by Jerry McNamara. Not often does he do that. Sorrentine tries to deal it down. It's deflected. He traveled. Opagila loses it.
I knew we weren't playing our best, and I knew that we made a lot of silly mistakes, and you could tell Tom Brennan was feeling the same way.
We didn't play that good. Not really, we didn't, and they didn't either. And I think we had a lot to do with them, and they had a lot to do with us.
People always remember the good and, the shot I made, but they don't remember I had taken 16 other threes in that game. I happened to make a few in the second half, but the first half was a struggle. We probably should have been down double figures, the way we played. We couldn't score the basketball. Their zone really affected us. They were very long, and we just couldn't get in any offensive flow.
The Cats trailed Syracuse 23-19 at halftime.
Right, and that is the end of the first half.
Vermont was down, but no one felt the team was out.
You're kind of getting into halftime. You're like, hey, we're right there. We played 20 minutes with them. Now we just got to do it for another 20.
You had the feeling about midway through the first half that if it was going to be a Syracuse win, it was bound to come down to the final 5 minutes. You don't want that if you're wearing orange that night.
Just needed a couple shots to fall, and once that started happening in the second half and we were providing the same sort of effort defensively, confidence grew.
The confidence started with Koppenrath.
Koppenrath the reverse layup.
And continued with Sorrentine.
Sorrentine again!
But the Cats' true momentum came from one of its most unlikeliest of sources.
Popagila knocks down a three.
One that had averaged just under 6 points a game that season.
Oh!
Senior Jermaine
Popagila.
I knew going into the game that for us to have a chance to beat such a, historic team, we are not just going to rely on TJ and Taylor like we did, in the past.
He got it going, which was very important for us to take the pressure away from TJ and myself. We don't win the game if he doesn't play like that.
I think Brendan will tell you that they probably did not tell Popagila to take any of the shots that he took in that game.
They weren't all great shots necessarily, but you're feeling it and you're going good and you're a senior and you're saying, hey, I've invested 4 years in this and I've busted my butt every single day and I'm going to take it.
He just goes on this run and goes on this run and you're thinking, okay, he's got to stop at some point. Nope.
I don't think I felt like I'm on the roll. I felt like I need to do whatever I need to do for us to win the game.
We needed somebody to kind of step up, and it needs to come from somewhere.
Popagila. Oh!
And the fact that Jermaine was able to do it and do it at such a high level was unbelievable. It was really an unbelievable thing to watch from the bench, for sure.
Popagila scored a career-high 20 points on 9 of 10 shooting. But of course, his most famous shot of the game was one that was waved off.
Popagila drives!
If not for stepping out of bounds, Vermont would have had a 2-point lead over Syracuse with 4 seconds left in regulation.
I thought it was close. The basket went in, Being excited and look at the ref, and unfortunately, I stepped out of bounds.
You're an engineering student, for God's sakes. How the hell do you not know where the lines are? You're an engineer. The coach, I thought I was in.
Everybody was devastated at that time. I think, it was a short period, obviously, but it was like, oh man, we were like right there.
I just thought, oh, I hope they don't make crazy shots, because there's like a second or two left on the clock. I was just like, please don't make a crazy shot. And when they didn't score, to me, I just felt like, hey, 5 more minutes. We are right there. There's no reason to lose this game.
We didn't win it at the end of the regulation, but we didn't lose either. So it was a little bit of a setback, but we just went to the huddle again and said, here we go. 5 more minutes.
We were nervous, very nervous about doing another 5 minutes with those guys. Seeing Jim Boeheim going nuts on the bench. I mean, he was screaming at his players, what are we doing here? We have to go another 5 minutes with this team.
I remember thinking to myself, this is a shame. This is a shame. And saying to them, where else would you rather be? 5 more minutes? They want 5 more minutes? We'll give them 5 more minutes. We're going to win this game.
I think everybody collectively in the whole arena was like, Vermont's done. But then we came out, we got the first basket, and it was like, all right, we're not done. We're going to win this game.
But a Coppenrath turnover 90 seconds into overtime led to a Jerry McNamara basket and a 2-point Syracuse lead.
It is a sport, and you got to make some mistakes, and you just got to continue through.
Thanks to Vermont's defense, McNamara and Hakeem Warwick, Syracuse's top 2 stars, had struggled all game, scoring a combined 31 points on 12 of 34 shooting.
Hayne played great defense. Martin Klemesh was tremendous on Warwick. He did a tremendous job. Now, the guy had a double-double, but he also had 10 turnovers.
Warwick's final turnover would give UVM the ball up 1 with a little over a minute to go.
Popagila with the steal.
Setting up the most famous shot in program history.
Fans chanting. UVM. Let me tell you once again, comes down to fundamentals. Oh, my goodness! Sorrentine hit that one from the parking lot, and Vermont has a 59-55 lead. 1:06 to go in OT.
We were trying to get him off a screen. Zone was up high, and we'd put in a play called red, and it was like screening the wing guy from Syracuse. So I said, run red.
I wanted to take the shot. I think Coach wanted me to take the shot too. The play he called was for me to get the ball back, but I just had this feeling if I gave it up, I might not get it back.
Honest to God, Scott, he went, I got it. Like, okay, you got it. All right, so you're going to run red.
And I think they started to realize, like, what is this kid doing dribbling the ball at the top of the key? And then I saw them start creeping a little closer, and I said, all right, this is the time.
Just after he goes like this, he turns, and fires it. And I thought, well, once it left his hand, I had to root for it to go in. There was nothing I could do at that point. We couldn't get it back.
I'm down on the baseline, you know, running under the basket. And as soon as he lets it go, I start running, and I'm looking up, and I can see it coming right through the hoop. And I'm like, he's made it.
I jumped as high as I could, and I look back on that moment, and it was awesome.
Pandemonium. It was bedlam. People around me jumping up and down and screaming, and so many high fives that my hands were going to fall off. It was one of the most exciting moments in sports history for me.
Oh, but that moment that he hit the shot. It was too good to be true.
I couldn't believe he took it. I couldn't believe he took that shot. I guess you could say at least it was open. It was certainly an open shot. And then the everlasting image of Brennan with his arms in the air.
I had my hands up, and I was going, we're going to beat Syracuse. We're going to beat Syracuse. There was still a minute and a half to go.
It was basically total deflation and the beginnings of emotion of, hey, let's make some plans for this week because we ain't going to Austin.
Watching the shots afterward, oh my God. Even today, when I watch it on YouTube, I'm always like, Jesus, this is nuts.
It changed my life inexorably. I can't even begin to tell you how much it changed my life.
You want the ball in his hands.
With Vermont up 3 in the final seconds, McNamara had one last chance to tie the game.
Launch, no, tipped around, out of bounds, we head the other way.
The Cats needed to just inbound the ball to make history.
They throw it in the front court, it's caught. Upset City in Worcester. The Catamounts knock off the Orange, 60-57.
And the program's first ever NCAA Tournament victory.
I think I ran around trying to find people to celebrate with, you know, because some people turn to somebody next to them, other people run onto the court, some people are running off the court.
Well, you always envision after you upset somebody or win a big game, you know, you run on the table or you do something crazy. I didn't shake hands with anybody. I just sprinted to the locker room.
I can still remember me just going like, yes. You know, it's like you have a dream, you have a goal, you set a goal, it's a dream, and you know how hard is it to make it happen. I mean, it's beating Syracuse. You know, it's a hard thing to do.
The Vermont fans it was like somebody injected us with something. We were mesmerized. We were sitting there paralyzed, waiting for the team to come out. We couldn't believe what just happened.
I was running around looking for people to hug, and I ran into some of the Syracuse guys by mistake, I think, which I feel bad about.
To have these people that really collectively hadn't ever experienced anything like that when it came to UVM athletics, and to feel kind of like you were a big-time school for just a few hours, the place went nuts.
I was so grateful. I can remember that vividly. I was so grateful that they had hung with me and that the thing developed into such a love affair. Nobody is ever going to get better incrementally for 19 years again. That is never going to happen.
The legacy, you've done it.
Yeah, this is definitely what we just set out to do. This is the most amazing feeling in the world for every guy in this room. And you know, everybody's trying to fight back tears. It's just, you can't explain, you can't put into words what this means to this team.
I think as a sportscaster, as an athlete, you just knew that this was something so huge for them, not just in the moment, but in their lives. So I felt emotional. I really did. I was just so thrilled for them. I was thrilled for the people of Vermont.
It's just a wonderful win for our program, biggest win in the history of the school, and without a doubt, and nobody deserves that more than these fellas right here.
I knew if we got good, it would be something. You know, I did. I knew that, but I never knew it would be that, where everybody in the state, I mean, even it's 10 years later, there's barely a day goes by somebody doesn't bring it up. And the thing that made it so nice to me was I loved the place so much. I love being the coach here. I was so proud to be the coach here. And now we could give all this back. We could give it all back to the people, and they loved it.
I'm Shauna Litsky in Worcester, Massachusetts. The Hoop Cats are one win away from the Sweet 16. Tomorrow, they take on the 5th-seeded Michigan State Spartans. There wasn't this sense of, oh, well, we beat Syracuse, we sort of came to do what we did. They were ready to keep going. They had every intention of doing what they could to win that second game.
You know, I played a great game. We beat Syracuse. Exciting is great. You know, interviews, people are calling you. then it's like, okay, the second game, okay, what do I do?
I'm not sure the jubilation really ended. I mean, I think once we got onto the floor, we were obviously focused and trying to win the game. I know TJ was super focused for that game, and he played great.
We played a good first half. I think we just didn't have enough. If we had to do it over again, you know, maybe we might have done some different things, but it's just one of those things, you know, we just ran out of gas. And they were a great team. I mean, they went to the Final Four.
I felt like every shot I shot, you know, I was willing it to go in, and it just fell short every time. And to go out like that, it was very difficult for me personally.
Later on, I definitely think we'll look back and, you know, realize what we did and what we accomplished.
It was very difficult. I mean, it was emotional because, you know, we had lost against Michigan State. We beat Syracuse. We got a win. Great season. We're graduating. He's retiring. So it was a big roller coaster of emotion.
It just was a wonderful, magical mystery ride. It was a magic carpet ride, and so now it's over, and we just go from there. But as you get older, the time goes faster. The timing was right. The stars were aligned. Everything was perfect, and it was everything I thought it would be.
I think it really helped to unify the community around here and the school and the sports community, especially. You know, Vermont being a smaller state and not having any pro teams. You know, it's the shining moment, I think, you know, in the history of sports in this state. So, again, just extremely proud and thankful to have been a part of it.
It's an experience that brought a lot of people together. I'm still in contact with all the guys. Coach Brennan, you know, whenever we can, we get together. It's just that family, you know, it's like a family.
It truly was the best year of my life, certainly from a basketball and personal perspective, up to that point where it's just, again, the people and the community and how they made that moment. I love talking about it, and I love when people ask about it. It's pretty neat.
When I came to UVM, all the pieces made an unbelievable puzzle, and once it finished, it was one for the record books, one to look back on for years and years to come.
What has helped so much is that we've stayed good. We've been good for like 14 years now, or 13 out of 14. You know, it's amazing. And so that keeps it alive.
I wasn't even coming here yet, and that literally sold me to be there and to watch that whole game. I mean, it was like no other moment. I will never forget it for the rest of my life.
Did you ever tell those guys that?
Nah, no.
When you're playing and you can bring joy to people and make them excited about a place or wanting to do something just by playing basketball, that's the greatest feeling in the world. To be able to affect people the way we did and that team did was very special, very special.
I don't know how anything would ever top that. I just don't, because it was a name brand school, one of the big boys, and Vermont at the start of this run. I'm not saying Vermont can't get in there and win another tournament game, but it was the first one.
They can't ever do what we did, because we did it first, and we did it 3 times in a row, and it had never been done before, you know. So those things are okay. So we built a house. Now you guys start adding on to it, and that's what they've done, which makes me as proud of as anything.
Vermont and Syracuse would once again meet in the first round of the NCAA Tournament in 2010. But it was the Cuse coming away with a 23-point victory over Mike Lonergan's 16th-seeded Cats. Vermont would get back to the big dance in 2012 under then first-year head coach John Becker. The team beat Lamar in a first 4 game, eventually falling to top seed North Carolina. I'm Scott Fleischman. Thanks for watching from the parking lot 10 years later.
So we're in the airport, and Bruce Bosley, our SID, said to me, "Hey, you want to be commissioner?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "The commissioner just quit, just resigned." And I said, "Bose, I want to work less, not more." And David Hayne was reading the newspaper, and he pulled it down in front of his face. He said, "Come on, man, it'd be hard for you to do less."